So this is a rack product?
Yeah, rack product. Not quite sure what size it is.
That looks like to me like a 9 kilowatt. Come on, let's have a look at that. Oh, look at that, it's a 9 kilowatt. Yeah, how do I know that? Because we install them.
5-port 90. So
what's the max pipe run on this?
Max pipe run is 80 metres combined. Individually, you've got 25 metres per leg.
How much?
25 metres.
Oh, nice. Okay.
25 metres per leg. We do the horizontal ducted unit, slimline. It's only 200 mil high. We've got the etherea. This is a brand new charcoal grey etherea.
We've installed one of these. And we've installed one of these. So you've actually got a full range of colours, because once upon a time you never actually did.
Correct, correct.
So you do silver. This is your black, right? It's a charcoal grey.
Anthracite grey or charcoal grey.
And a white.
Not quite black, but it is a dark grey. The white etherea and the silver etherea. We've got nanoex included in all three products. The etherea model as well has the directional vanes, not only just vertically but also horizontally as well.
Okay, so this is your the etherea is your top spec.
Top spec product.
So
yeah.
Answer me this: so obviously we've covered nanoex in the past, which is obviously a very good air purification system. Does the TZ, which is the standard range, come with it?
It does now.
On the multi-split?
On the multi-split.
So your entry-level wall mount is actually not an entry-level wall mount compared to competitors. So where you look at the top two, even, you know, we can reel them out, Mitsubishi, Daikin, Toshiba, Fujitsu, they're basic units, as we've always led to believe. It's their entry-level unit. It's a simplified unit. It heats and it cools. It has Wi-Fi built in. So your TZ actually has an additional bit of value here, where it has the air purifier as standard.
Yeah, correct. Just recently introduced, the previous models didn't have it, but it has got what they call a Mark 1 generator.
Okay.
Whereas the etherea has a Mark 3 generator, so it creates 10 times more
hydroxyl radicals. Okay, fine.
Compared to what the TZ does.
Okay. So you're, in essence, you're actually using your first type of purification in the basic unit, but it's still doing something. It's still, you know, it's still adding extra value.
It's still inhibiting viruses.
Answer me this, because every brand is different. You know your R32 multi, you might know this, Neil, you might not. Let's test your skills here. Do you put trim charges on this, or is it charged to its max pipe run?
There is an additional charge.
There is?
There is an additional charge over and above, I think it's 30 metres, but I might have to check that.
That's no issue at all. Okay.
There's a pre-charge already in the system, depending on how much meterage of pipe work.
So this is, I'd say, the old school way, because some of the manufacturers now, it's really confusing. Some are they're charged their maximum already, and then the others, it sounds like yourself, where anything over a certain amount, you need to put a trim charge in.
Correct.
Okay.
That's like that with all the splits, really, the split range on the Packeye and the domestic splits.
So your rack. So just to go through your rack products. So have we got any split units rack, or is it just off the multi?
Yes, I think so. We've got, just to let you know, we've got the compact cassette as well that obviously goes on the rack product.
Does that go up?
Sprayed green.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Look at that.
Yeah.
That looks like a BMW colour, an individual BMW colour.
Yeah.
What's on the rack? Tell me this. Anything sort of up to 5 kilowatt, what are they pre-charged to? Is it 7? I think it's
7.5 metres.
7.5 metres.
Yeah, 7.5
because I know where you've been quite good with us, is some of your products are actually pre-charged to sort of 15 to 20 metres.
On the Packeye, they're pre-charged to 30 metres.
Okay,
so
and what about the rack? Sort of even the 6 kilowatts and the 7 kilowatts? Are they also 7 metres?
7.5 metres.
Okay, so your rack products are 7 metres, but your Packeye, which is your more commercial range of products?
Correct, yeah. So generally longer pipe run range, they're up to 30 metres.
Standard 30 metres?
30 metres pre-charge, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because a lot of manufacturers now, even in their commercial range, they are 7 metres. And it's quite a bummer when you're doing a late shift and you need to put trim charge and you have to go back to SI, whereas your range is pre-charged to 30 metres.
Correct.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. All right, wonderful. Okay, there's a lot of kit in here. We personally don't get too involved with this, but I know this is a very good unit. This is CO2.
Correct.
So this is a CO2, what you call like a packed unit, is that right?
We call them cold chain units. So basically these are with low temp systems. So for, like this one here is rigged up to a cabinet, which we sometimes have on.
Okay.
So, you know, if we have events...
Is this again, we're not fridge people, and the fridge viewers may actually know the answer to this, but this isn't a Panasonic product, is it?
The cabinet's not.
The cabinet is a generic cabinet which a lot of manufacturers make.
Correct.
Would it have to be CO2 approved? Or is it a case of, well, actually, it doesn't matter what goes on the end of it, all the magic is done in here? Is this a new product? Because looking at it, if I stood here, Sanyo.
Yeah.
Even this mesh.
Initially, I believe it was a Sanyo product. And obviously, you know the legacy with Panasonic and Sanyo. I don't know whether everyone knows the legacy between Panasonic and Sanyo.
I think you bought them, you took them over, and you made them a better product, right?
Around 2005, I believe. But Panasonic, took over Sanyo. So we have a legacy there in terms of the VRF product especially.
Yeah.
We can still use Panasonic on existing Sanyo systems.
Wow, okay.
So we do quite a lot of changeover. If there's a lot of Sanyo in the field and it's coming to sort of end of life, being sort of up to 10 to 15 years of age.
So that's, whether that stays in the future is obviously, we don't know. So if we were to put a product in that 2024 Panasonic, in 10 years time, it might not be the case. But in the now, what a great benefit, because if you own a hotel with 100 rooms or 50 rooms and you put in a Sanyo or Panasonic product 10, 15 years ago, you're actually not having a complete rip out with a new installation. And it actually doesn't fall under a new installation. So I don't want to say you're bending the rules, but you're not, I don't want to say you're having to comply with EM371, but you're replacing like for like equipment. So it's a crane potentially to just change a condenser rather than saying new condenser, new BC boxes, new indoor units.
Yeah, correct.
Obviously, for you as a manufacturer, it's probably a lovely sell as well because it's low risk, and it's almost like for like.
It's pretty much like for like. Obviously, the comms, they all speak to each other, so we can do it outdoor or indoor. So it might not be that the outdoor units need replacing, but we could change indoor units if we need to. So,
okay.
And we do quite a lot of that actually. In all fairness, there's quite a lot of projects out there in the field that are Sanyo.
It's just a like-for-like replacement.
And it's a like
this product, if this is an older Sanyo product, because I know Sanyo and a few of the others have had this for the years, this could have been ahead of its time. Is that, there could be an element of that to it? As in, the CO2, this product wasn't, where GWP wasn't a massive factor 20 years ago, it was actually ahead of its time because it worked on a CO2 product. It might not have taken off, but now CO2 has got a GWP of 0.
One.
Is it 1? Do they call it 1?
Yeah, 1.
It doesn't really get much better than that. And now it's obviously a key product. Wow, okay. Let's move on. Okay, this is all air to water, Neil, isn't it?
Yeah, this side's the air to water side. So obviously we have two sides of the company. You know, air to air, that I'm sort of more based on the air to air side, and we do lots of air to water products, but we sell via heating distributors. With your
air to water?
Yes, yes.
Right, okay. So I can't sell myself as a big air to water expert. I think I'll speak to Graham Hendra for that. But one thing I do know about your air to water product, I hear great things, and that's because if you want to remove the buffer and just have it, which is a big talk, I don't know if you've come across it, but there's big talk of air to water systems being designed incorrectly or not efficiently by manufacturers. Your product allows no buffer, and because it has its own variable speed pump in the heat pump, it can modulate itself to manage its flow.
It all depends on how the system's designed and to make sure that you've met the minimum water volumes or the maximum water volumes of the system. So, you know, sometimes having a buffer is a good separation between the, you know.
I understand the buffer is safety, it's a guarantee, but you do lose efficiency, and a lot of the more techies out there now are saying, well, actually, you can get a SCOP. I know there's a gentleman that we come across quite often on the internet, which with your Panasonic, he gets SCOPs of 6 to 7, but it's direct. He's got the water volume measured right, and the Panasonic unit, it just maintains its 5 degrees delta T or whatever it needs to maintain. And what's really interesting is others are now following that. So again, it's a product that if you've not worked on it, you need to just speak to the right person in Panasonic to get the answer. Right, I'm really looking forward to your R290 unit. So Panasonic, a few years back, they acquired System Air. I actually went to the launch in Madrid, probably about 5 years ago now, right? And System Air are known for mechanical ventilation, AHUs, and chillers. And they're made in France? Is the chiller factory in France?
There is, the factory is in France, yeah.
Okay,
so two factories in France, I believe.
So with that, they're able to compete in the chiller market. And us as a business, and myself being a bit curious, we've been asking the questions and finding out what they compete with and what USPs they've got. So Panasonic have got an R290 air-to-water heat pump, which goes up to 90 kilowatts. I believe it was the first in the UK. I might be wrong. There's a lot of Chinese brands that obviously do the same. But as we know, a lot of Chinese products don't have the name as Panasonic does in the UK. What that allows you to do is to get hot water generation. Is it up to 70?
70 degrees maximum, but that would be down to sort of 0.
Okay, and then -5, it'll drop off.
It will drop off, yeah. But we do have selection software, which is through the Panasonic Pro Club, so that you can actually feed in the data, your parameters of what you want to try and achieve. It's well worth having a look at.
So if you're a member, you get access to this.
If you're a member of the
could I be a member if I'm a consultant and I become approved Panasonic, and then you get the software?
Basically, anyone who signs up to the Panasonic Pro Club could look at the software for design purposes.
Okay.
So, but you need to be a member of the Panasonic Pro Club.
And you need to put the right information to get the right answer.
You need to put the right information in, but the point is you can design and build your own chiller via the tool.
So personally, I think that's amazing. I also know, to give you even some more credit here, if I Google this, Panasonic chillers, you will get a configurator that comes up. You can actually do an online configurator, which won't give you the full design, but you can get the dimensions, you can get everything on pretty much most of your chiller and packaged chiller range. One of the biggest frustrations we're having at the moment is a lot of the big chiller manufacturers are very busy. We're waiting over a week for quotes. We're almost getting a week sometimes just for a selection. And I feel there's animosity even with some of the technical departments where they just haven't got enough time to quote the selection. All I want is a selection to see if the design will work. You're allowing us to do it, or you're allowing my consultants to do it?
Yeah, we're allowing you or the consultant to do it. We encourage you to use it because you can not only build your chiller on design side, but you can build it with all your accessories as well. So, if you want...
All off the selection?
Yeah, all off the selection. So if you wanted to add the accessories, you might want low noise fans, you might want variable speed pumps, you might want anti-vibration feet.
So you could actually include all your accessories?
We can include the accessories. You can build your chiller, and you could, if it was you doing it, email it over to me. I can price up.
The question I've got for you with that is it smart enough so if I did a selection, it would tell me the dB of the chiller from a meter?
Yeah, whether it's from a meter, but it provides...
It's usually on chillers, it's usually a meter to 10 meters.
Yeah, but I'm not sure exactly what the technical data, how far it is on that chiller, but it would give you a full specification, all the temperature parameters on there as well. So you get a full package.
So if I was to put an extra low noise accessory pack into a chiller, that software would know what that would do to the chiller dB, and it would give me the figure. So I could actually design a building and say, well, these are the chillers I need.
Yes.
And I don't even need to speak to you until it comes to the quote. So so people would need to be Panasonic members, obviously sign up with yourselves.
Sign up with the Pro
And if they needed training on this software, I take it it's a phone call and then having one of yourselves visit or even do it over a Teams call.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, wow. So that's
something that we'd be happy to help with.
So that's value that, especially when you're looking chillers and heat pumps, you don't get from anyone else. So you're actually giving the responsibility to the contractor, and you're holding your hand to say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Right, let's look at this heat pump. Yeah, so this heat pump's been out for nearly a year now, I think. Panasonic put a lot of marketing on this product. We've quoted quite a few of them. Some of the jobs we've not won, but it's R290, which is a GWP of, I think, 3, but I've heard this morning it might have been degraded to maybe 2. There's very little products out there. I could reel out what products out there match this R290. However, I'm interested in the footprint of this chiller because it seems quite small. Stop, everybody. So sorry to interrupt this video, but I just need to let you know that this video is actually sponsored by the HVAC Buyers Club. HVAC Buyers Club. HVAC Buyers Club? If you're an installer sole trader, small limited company, or someone that is sick of being ripped off, or you're having to spend hours trying to procure different materials from different suppliers, you need to get in touch with the HVAC Buyers Club. They're approved to sell 2 major leading brands of air conditioning equipment with extensive warranties. That's right, you subscribe, you'll get the warranties. Material-wise, they mark up a fixed rate on all the materials. They guarantee they will beat 90% of all materials out there. They are your procurement buyers. Inquire with them, get the discounts. Also, this video is in association with Panasonic. They've been really good to us today, letting us be in their facilities, going through all their range. If you do not install Panasonic products, I think you should try them out. They've got pretty much the whole residential range covered. They've got some really niche net zero commercial products using R290, and also they've got an extended range of air to water heat pumps. If you know much about their VRFs and their internal units, you'll know that they've got a really, really good nanoex air purification system with their aircon. Check it out. Enjoy the video. So they've got some nice sound deadening in here and 2 great big Emerson Copeland scrolls, 25 kilowatts. This is a typical chiller, nice and simple inside. So this is your 50 kilowatt unit. So this is heating and cooling. Heating up to 70 degrees?
70 degrees on heating, but that would be only down to 0. But as I was saying earlier, if you wanted to go lower than 0, have lower ambient temperatures that you want to design to, you would really need to put it into the chiller selection software, so that you can actually see what drop-offs you're going to get at those sort of design temperatures.
So this is the 50 kilowatt unit. This 50 kilowatt unit is 2.2 meters wide, and your 80 kilowatt is 2 meters wide. So we're talking 300. I think your unit is the smallest I've seen. The others are at 110. We're talking 4 fans. So we're talking a lot wider. This is R290. It's amazing with chillers. They're all very simplified machines. It seems to be all the intelligence is in the controls.
Yeah. And don't forget, obviously, you can cascade these as well, so you can build them up to
640 kilowatts.
Yeah. So,
have you personally come across the Cascade controller for these yet or not?
Not personally, because the chiller side of the business is still quite new, especially to me. I am obviously going around promoting chillers to customers that we deal with, but it's still early stages, and I'm, trying to get involved more and more with them.
I suppose the Cascade controller is, unless you're doing a very, very large installation, I suppose you wouldn't do it. But I'm going to assume that the Cascade controller, like most, does all the magic. It chooses which chillers, it sequences them, it does absolutely everything. It takes the brain away from the chiller. It just gives it a signal demand.
Yeah.
I like the fact that 8 of them can go up to 640 kilowatts. The 2.5 inch. The 2.5 inch are really, again, I'm going to go a bit mechanical on you here, but you would line these up and you would just pipe them all in with a common header.
You do have to...
They'll have a minimum water flow requirement.
Yeah.
But I've seen that you've actually got an optional buffer with some of these.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. You do have certain space requirements as well as there are 290, so you would need to take that into consideration if you are doing multiple
I'm going to assume, is this in relation to... obviously, R290 is new to most people. There's a lot of manufacturers, their rack range are actually going to come out next year in R290, but I see the likes of Discharge HP here, and I see really strange pressure relief valves. And also this fan at the bottom here is there that if there is an R290 leak, it actually dumps that's correct, it away, because unfortunately R290 is a propane type of refrigerant. Although it's not a propane, somebody once told me that R290 is the best refrigerant, because if you're charging it and you want to make yourself a quick lunch with a barbecue, you can use the refrigerant to heat up a stove. So it is very dangerous and it's very flammable. So there will be space requirements, because I suppose if this is being discharged, the last thing, well, no one would want to put a chiller this close. However, there must be restrictions around the chillers,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct. That's correct. And you know,
Is that on the selection software?
I'd say that the space requirements will be on there. Well, they'll be on the dimensional drawings, so you would be able to see. So, but I would, definitely.
Are these again? The good thing is with this chillers, it's very simplified. So if you had 10 of these on site, or let's just say you had 8 and you needed 640 kilowatts, it's a Copeland scroll compressor. Okay, it's a big compressor, and yeah, it does look quite tight in there. But the benefit you've got is if you have actually got the same products on site, you could hold strategic spares and say, well, listen, we've got 2 spare compressors on site, we've got fan motors on site, we've got the same 4-way valves on site. It's all interchangeable. Yeah, it's a nice machine. It's actually quite a simple machine. I think looking at chillers as highly sophisticated items, I think them days need to slowly go, because these net zero designs we come across are so overcomplicated that. So this is actually a direct replacement for a boiler.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's an efficient replacement for gas boilers, and that's the sort of work that we're now getting involved with, because people are looking to replace gas, especially.
And your offering is, if you want a high temperature solution with water from us, you're saying, well, we can do it, but we only use R290 because it's a lower GWP than R32.
Particularly on this model, but as you know, we've got chillers in R32 as well, and 14A chillers,
but they won't go up. I'm going to assume they don't go up to 70 degrees.
No, the temperatures aren't quite as high as what obviously this one's going to be able to produce.
Okay.
So this is ideal replacement for gas boilers, especially.
Yeah. So this is the gas boiler replacement unit. Interesting. And because it's 50 kilowatts, the reality is if you've got a 50 kilowatt boiler, as long as the consultant has worked out, the temperatures at -5, etc., etc., this would fit on most roofs. And it is just a flow and return.
Yeah. And we're doing, especially at the moment, school projects. I mean, they're quite... Schools especially are looking at replacing inefficient gas systems. So there's a lot of scope for using these particular products, I should say.
And this product, I've heard that you've got this, your big flagship is this place in Cardiff, where they've used a hydrogen fuel cell to basically power a lot of the heat pumps. Is it this product that's been used down there?
Yes, it is. It's a product that's going in now, actually, as we speak. We've got a brand new training facility there as well.
Oh, wow.
So it's a Panasonic factory.
So that would be a perfect factory tour for a consultant or a client that is thinking of going net zero, and a product which is high temp, because you can say, well, we've done it here, look.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, wow, okay.
It will be a great case study.
Do you know when that's going to be open?
Not entirely sure,
okay.
But I think it's pretty imminent.
Really? Interesting. Okay, nice. Right, let's move on to something else. What else have we got in here, Neil?
Well, we've got the one that you was quite interested in.
Oh, this is my favourite unit. Oh, wow. So I call it the NX unit. I don't know why. No. What's it called?
We call it the adaptive ducted unit. So NX is NX range, the new sort of PAC-I range, which NX, obviously nanoex, but also the wiring was changed on the NX range. So it went to 3+ earth where the previous...
So Panasonic, for those that don't realise now, is 4-core. It's the way it should be. Bye-bye Sanyo swap out. It's a pain in the butt if you've got old Sanyo kit now, because you can't offer the range. But this is I'm not going to tell any porkies. This is one of my favourite aircon units. Yes, I have a favourite aircon unit. I tell everyone about this unit, and I say, well, have you thought about this over the others? And again, people are trying to understand the Panasonic brand. Why? Well, Neil, you can explain why. This, obviously you're offering for this versus some of the other brands.
I think this one...
This is a bit of a USP for you.
Yeah, it's a massive USP for us. This one's on the VRF system, but you'll see here, this ducted unit is exactly the same unit.
Exactly the same unit.
Exactly the same unit. One's mounted horizontally, one's mounted vertically.
So same model. So I would place an order with you for the same unit. I wouldn't even have to tell you if it's vertical or horizontal, because it's both enabled out of the box.
Which is massive flexibility for you, because if you are installing, especially residentials, and people change their minds and they say, oh, you can't put it up there, there's no bulkhead room or space or whatever, and you can mount it vertically as well. So you could say, well, that's no problem. We'll change it and we'll put it as a floor chassis type unit. So spec on these, these ones are VRF ones, but we do exactly the same model in the PAC-I range as a split. So it's available as a single split, it's available as twin splits, triple splits, quad splits, or it's available as VRF.
So static pressure. So, you look at this unit, if you compare it as a rack offering, The only downside this has got is the depth. It's 250 versus 200. So that it basically is a deeper unit.
Yeah.
However, if you've got a ducted unit in a loft and you're running some long ducts, what's the static pressure on? Is it 180?
No, it's up to 150.
150.
Maximum static's 150. But one thing I would say, a lot of VRF, same with us, on the floor chassis type ones, they're rated at 0 static. So if you're going to put
What do you mean, sorry, what your competitors?
And ours as well, on floor chassis units.
Yeah.
So if you just use your standard floor chassis unit,
yes,
they don't have any rating on static pressure.
so you really need to have a grill pretty much straight off it to
Pretty
get
much
the air
straight
out.
off it. If you're going to go up behind wardrobes and out through sort of bulkheads, then you're not going to get a lot of air out of those. Whereas this unit, obviously, you can ramp it from 10 to 150 pascals.
Which is something. That's a bit of oomph.
Yeah.
So you're forcing the air out of the unit.
Also, it's built in nanoex as well, so there's a good feature there.
Generation 3?
Generation 3, I think, on the Pack-I.
Okay.
Although
So
I'd have to
again,
double
it
check.
has a built-in air purifier. It can be a selling point to the client. The client might not even turn it on. They might not even know they had it if you don't know educate. However, it has an air purifier built in. Again, it's just a tick that it just makes it, in my opinion, it makes it a good value proposition.
The other feature on here is bottom or back return air as well.
Which is
it's
amazing, Neil.
Interchangeable on those as well. So
yeah. Neil, with that, I had a conversation with one of my contracts managers recently, and he's now in love with this unit as well, because if you're doing a residential installation, this unit can be positioned tight against the wall because you've got entry at the bottom. Not many, there's a few manufacturers that do that, and this is one of them products. I didn't realise this went on VRF.
Yeah, it goes on VRF.
So it now goes on VRF.
Yeah, we do lots on VRF. So yeah, it's popular. It's a popular model. It's one of our,
It's a good unit.
Yeah,
I know you're one of your units from speaking to you. You've always liked the floor mount.
Yeah, I know. It was.
It's one of the first matte white units that I think floor mount.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, I think on the floor mount, it's just nice, clean nines, isn't it? It looks a nice unit. It's not ugly.
Is it still your favourite unit?
It's probably one of the better looking units, I think, especially if you're doing domestic applications.
It's an easy sell to the client.
Yeah, because,
and it's got nanoex.
Yeah, because it's got nanoex. It's this one's on a VRF as well, so it's the same style of indoor unit, but we also do it on single splits, and we also do this one on multis as well. So
not VRF.
Yeah, we do it on VRF.
So
as well.
is that with probably like an LEV box that you have to bolt onto it or something?
No, the VRF one's got their expansion valves already
inside. So it's its own purpose unit.
It's its own purpose unit. It's not modified in any shape, way, or form. So, yeah, it's its own.
So let's talk about controllers. So obviously Mitsubishi have a touchscreen controller. Fujitsu have a really nice controller. Daikin have the Madoka. Panasonic had I know this is called the RTC5 because we put a lot of them in. I actually really like the controller, but unfortunately it's probably a bit out of date now. These top two are your RTC6 units?
Yeah, the RTC6 available in white or black. Available in 3 versions, so we do the standard RTC6, we do an RTC6 BL, which is Bluetooth, and we do an RTC6 BLW, which is also built in Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So you have the ability to use one of these and connect it to an indoor unit, and you use it as a Wi-Fi and actually connect to the AC.
Oh, do you? So you actually can have a Wi-Fi, so if you had a cassette unit, you could use that as the Wi-Fi interface?
What you can't use them on VRF though, that's the only thing I would say. The Wi-Fi module on VRF, where you'd have to buy an independent Wi-Fi module for the unit. But if you're doing Pack-I, then you can just use the controller and use it as a Wi-Fi module, and you can connect straight to the smart.
How was your feedback when they first came out? Because I think one of the big things in the aircon world, and HVAC in general, is the second a controller has changed, there's always resistance because I love that. It was easy to interrogate. Has it taken a while to win people over? Or
I think this is really designed more as a simplified controller. So, it's used for domestic purposes or maybe hotels, that type of thing, because this controller's, obviously for offices, is probably
it's perfect, yeah, of course.
Easy to use. Well, it's not easier to use, it's just there's more functionality on there in terms of, what the end user sees. But I think initially we had the black one that came out, and obviously it's black. Some people don't want black,
Yeah, of course.
but now we've got a white one that's just been introduced as
So
well.
you can offer
both.
both.
We've got the both types now. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, right. I'm seeing things in here, Neil, I didn't know existed. So let's move on. So this is your data center offering.
Yeah.
Technair, Panasonic company.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen one of your boxes in person. That looks really cool. So that's a 4-way from the VRF.
That's the 4-way box. Yeah.
I'm going to be really funny here. Ben, it looks like 4 BC boxes bolted together, doesn't it? Like 4 individual boxes.
Yeah, it does.
Like 4 of these.
Yeah.
That is what I'm shocked to see.
Right. Okay.
You do multi-zone.
That's air zone.
But you do a multi-zone.
Yes. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Air zone. So if you're doing a ducted unit and you wanted to use one unit to cover 4 different rooms, say in this particular, there's only 3 on this one, sorry.
This is free. So this is 3 rooms off a single unit.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this something which you sell a lot of? Because I know it's a completely separate company, really, isn't it, AirZone?
Yeah, they are, and they supply to different manufacturers. But yeah, personally, I've done a few, but generally people tend to go with just individual ducted units. But obviously, you need to weigh up the
cost,
the job, the application. Because if you're doing offices, because it's not just for domestic, if you're doing offices and you've got ducted units and you want to save money on multiple ducted units, then this could be the ideal solution. So it's it's solutions and it's projects.
I think 10 kilowatt to 14 kilowatt. If you put the AirZone on it and you're doing 4 or 5 rooms, I think it's great value because you're no longer having 4 or 5 3.5 kilowatt units, which ducted.
Exactly. It does depend on the project and how many rooms you're doing, how many ducted units you have.
Okay.
Because sometimes multis can work out better value than having individual units. So you really need to look at each individual project.
Losnay offering, or VAM offering, or MVHR offering. Once upon a time, Neil, is this a Panasonic product? Now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Panasonic product.
Yeah. But this one, this one
the latest?
This is the latest model. So this is the FV version. So this is the latest model.
Okay.
So this is the one that's got EC fans in here.
It's got EC.
Yeah.
Access.
So we've got a better grade filter on there as well.
Let's have a look what's inside. So, relatively simple. Like everyone, you have a supply air from outside room air in, exhaust in air, and air side out. So, if you're going to put this on a centralized controller, you probably need like a Capra board or something. Is that right? Like an interface board?
Now, on this one, if there is an interface board, it's not a Capra board.
Look at that.
But if
that's nice. Ooh. So you've almost got 2 forms of heat exchange here. So your competitors have filtration either side with the heat exchanger. You've got a separate exchanger here, which is nice for air recovery. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. We just need to be mindful of you need that gap to get that panel over. What size does this come up in? Do you compete with some of the bigger manufacturers which do the twin stacked unit?
We do now. So we go up to 2000. We do the 1500 as well, which is so the 1500 and the 2000 are double stack units.
Okay.
Up to 1000, they're all single type units like this. But we also go down to 150 now. So that's the smallest.
A small
one.
unit. Is this the one? This could be the one. That's a 35.
This is the 35.
It's a very small unit.
Yeah. So the 15's smaller still.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this, as we rightly said, is on VRF. It's on VRF via centralized controller.
Yeah, so you can connect this to a centralized controller. You need a CAP C3 interface.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a box which has the U1, U2 connection, but it will get it onto the centralized control, so you can turn the controls just basically turn on and off. So you can turn it on and off via a centralized controller.
Wow. This is really interesting. I've not seen this before. This is different. So you've almost got one-way valves built into the units. You probably didn't even know this happened.
I
Look
didn't
at
know
this.
it happened because
I
I
reckon
haven't
the
seen
others
it.
have been taken out. So you would fit these on an external grill. So if the unit was switched off, you wouldn't want any backdrafts. Well, that closes.
Yeah.
That's a smart little. You could say, yeah, it's a bit of plastic, but it serves a purpose. I don't think others do that. Again, interesting. Okay, I reckon the answer is going to be no to this question. Have you got your brand new 20 kilowatt unit here, or 25 kilowatt unit?
No, the answer is no.
Is
Unfortunately,
because you
it's
now
no.
have a single fan, 20 to 25 kilowatt unit.
We do. So it is basically a metre high. So I'm pretty sure this one here is same height. So we've got a 25 kilowatt. This is a mini VRF. This one here. But
Your 20 to 25 kilowatt units, we've installed them, and they compete with I hate to say it, but they compete with the Dakin product, especially where it's a smaller, wider unit.
Yeah.
Is that on the commercial range of units?
Yeah.
Meaning, not VRF heat pump, just twin split, quad splits, and split units.
Yeah, so we do the high static ducted units. We do a 20 and a 25 kilowatts.
Yep.
And they're both single fan, so only a metre high, just over a metre wide, a bit wider than a metre, 460 deep. So it's a deeper unit.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we do 20, 25 kilowatt, single split, ducteds, triples, twins, quads. Another interesting product we've got, which I showed you about, but we don't have in the showroom, is the jet airstream that's coming out as well. So that's designed to replace inefficient gas reservoir type
So this
heaters.
is a product if you've got a sports hall,
Sports
or a
halls,
warehouse
gyms,
where you want to
warehouses.
remove gas heaters, you can actually fit a ducted unit with nozzles.
Correct.
And that would get the temperature. I think I've seen the video. You ideally want to get up to sort of 16 degrees tops, right?
Yeah, well,
it's a product which is a direct replacement for gas.
gas or inefficient electric radiant panels, anywhere where it's got inefficient systems and you're looking to cool or heat large
With efficiency, because
with
you're going to get your
because it's an air
COPs.
source heat pump, so it's
Okay.
a renewable energy piece of kit.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
So Ben, you can put a
solution.
link to this product because I don't think no one else offers it.
It's a brilliant product.
As far as I'm aware.
It's a brilliant product.
And it's here yet?
And
Is it
a
arrived
lot,
in
a
the
lot
UK?
of interest in it.
Really?
And it's arriving end of this month, so we should hopefully have stock available.
You need to get it installed. Get it installed and
January.
Okay, get it January next year.
January
25.
next year, yeah,
So
January
you
next
need
year.
that needs to land. It needs to be installed
Yeah,
because.
but essentially it's a split system, 100 metre pipe runs maximum.
Wow, really?
Only 7.5 inch pipe work.
7.5 inch.
7.5 inch pipe work, and ideal for large open plan spaces.
You know what I'm seeing straight away? If you've got a small local gym in a business unit and you need some form of heating, done.
You've said it exactly.
Done.
That.
We've had this in the past
Exactly
where
that.
there's no real solution. You go cassettes. The second you go cassettes, you're doing multiple cassettes to get the air distribution.
And they're never ideal because the high ceiling set. I know they have a high ceiling set.
Of
but
course.
These places sometimes are 6 metres high. I mean,
yes.
This particular unit can be mounted up to 6 metres height, and it has a throw of up to 30 metres. So it's, they're jet nozzles.
Is this a product that you can put a sock on the end of?
Yeah,
Or
we do a ducted version on there as well. So we do 3 versions. So we've got a motorised nozzle version, which basically moves automatically depending on set point temperatures, etc. Yep. We've got a manual version, or manual fixed nozzle version, I should say. So when I say manual, you'd have to get up a ladder, move the nozzles,
and adjust them,
and adjust them if needed. And we do a ducted version where you can put either sock.
So is that your standard ducted where you'd put the sock on the end?
No, it's not. It's a ducted jet stream, so it's got higher air volume. So they're up to 5,000 metres cube per hour. So they move a fair bit of air.
Wow.
And we do a 2,500 metres cube per hour version as well. So we do 2 sizes on that jet airstream.
Okay.
One's 14 kilowatt, one's 25 kilowatt. 14 kilowatt outdoor elite, or 25 kilowatt the new one. But there are slight drops.
So that's a USP, guys. That if you have got a unit that wants heating and you have no gas, okay, I think your 25 kilowatt three phase is condenser. I think it's 32 amp three phase. I'm sure it is.
It is 32 amp.
If you've got 64 amps three phase available on site, you're going to get 50 kilowatts. That will cover a big space. You could be talking 100, 150 square metres if you're just trying to get up to 15 to 16 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Ben, post the link because that's something which people could get some value out of. I think the last thing that we need to look at here is your VRF unit.
Yep.
So let's get the negatives out because it bugs the hell out of me. They don't do a 3-pipe R32, but one could say R32 might not be here for a long time, or not yet. This unit at the moment, is this your latest unit? Is this the latest range?
Yeah, it's the latest range. So the U8, this one's particularly, this is an 8 horsepower, so it's U8 MF3. We go up to 16 horsepower on this.
Okay, so
which is the same physical size. So the 8 and the 16, exactly the same size. So they're the same size.
Looking at it, it's quite a big girl, Neil. I wouldn't want to do a coil on it. However...
Yeah, it's a big girl, but you've got a lot of space in there to be able to work. So you do have quite a lot of space.
So the 16 horsepower is physically the same size?
Yeah, it's the same size unit, yes.
And because you're an expert, you've done this for a long time, what's 16 horsepower in kilowatt?
45.
So the 45 kilowatt is a single fan?
Correct, yeah. I mean, obviously we can modular these up. We can do 316s, is the biggest one we do. So we can do...
316, so you can do...
135 kilowatts, I think it is.
135 off one system as such.
One system.
Is there any USPs on this versus the others, or is it a case of, well, you've not produced it any further now because it's 410A? Obviously, your single footprint is quite smart. I think quite a few of the others on 45 kilowatts are not as tall, but they're slightly wider.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously...
what's your selling point this versus one of the manufacturers? Obviously, I think it's right to say your cost is significantly less. But your efficiencies are the same, if not better, in some elements?
The efficiencies are pretty... Well, all VRF systems are, similar on efficiencies, but we're more than a match to other manufacturers. Obviously, the products that we go with this as well, we've got the nanoex technology on all the VRF.
To go on to the internal
units.
On
most of the VRF indoor units now, barring a couple. Like the wall mounts don't have it just at the moment, but they are coming. So the new versions of the wall mounts, when they do arrive, will have the nanoex generators in there as well. So, I think with us, obviously we do the modular boxes. We've got single boxes, which are tiny, as you can see there.
Yeah.
We've got the 4-way, we do a 6-way, we do an 8-way box as well.
So you've actually, where potentially you haven't got the R32, if R410A is still accepted or clients aren't really fussed on the refrigerant, you've got a better offering inside.
I think so.
On the internal,
I think so.
or you're challenging with, well, we have fresh air. We have air purification on all the units. We make installations a bit easier because we give you both options. Do you do the top blow in R32?
It's just coming out.
Oh, okay.
It's just coming out, and actually the new version that's coming out. So we're going to have an 8, a 10. We've got an 8 and a 10 R32 heat pump this size at the moment. Well, this is actually the 4 horsepower, but we've got the 8 and the 10 as well in R32. But we've got a new version of R32, 8 10s, but top discharge, and a 12 as well. So we're going up to 33.5.
Do you know enough about it to know if there's any restrictions on the internals, or is it actually the same offering on the indoor units? There's no change?
Well, some of them are slightly different because the ducted unit on R32 has some sensors in there.
Yeah.
Some of them are universal, but the new version as well that's coming out, which isn't quite available yet, but I have seen some information on it, but I'm still getting the head around that one at the moment. But it's going to be anthracite grey colour, so that's quite a big difference in terms of...
the condenser is.
Yeah, so the new condenser...
Somebody in Panasonic
is going to be that colour there.
Someone in Panasonic has got an anthracite grey gun, and they're taking it to all the units.
They are.
It's a nicer colour, I suppose, yeah.
I think aesthetic...
Why has it always been cream? We don't really know why things have always been cream.
But I think especially, like newer buildings now, or even domestic properties, I think it's probably less... doesn't stand out so much, the anthracite grey, just blends in better.
I get it.
So I think for us going forward, it could be quite a good thing.
Wonderful. I think that's covered all of it, apart from... Do you have a centralised controller in here, Neil?
Yes, there's one over here, actually.
Let's go for the centralised. So this centralised controller, how old is it? As in, is this something that's been out in the last few years? Is it due to be upgraded, or is this your...
Well, yeah, it's the stand... Well, I say it's the stand... This is the top of the range one. It's the CZ256, so it does up to 256 indoor units.
Okay.
You have the ability to plug into a computer on here as well. So you can do, we can do energy monitoring as well from this particular controller. But we also do, I don't know, we've got one in here as well, but we've also got a small version that's centralised as well. So it's just the same size as an RTC5. So we do a smaller version.
Which is how many units? Is that 50?
That's 64 units.
64 units.
Yeah.
Question for you, Neil, because I think...
Oh, here we go. We've got one here. So this is a small... So this is the more cost-effective version. So if you wanted full centralised control, up to 64 units, you can do it from one of these.
So this is cheaper.
Yeah,
this is
considerably cheaper.
This is, you get it set up on site during the install, and you're not really going to touch it that much because it's a little bit more complicated, right?
Maybe, but some people think that, you know, it does all the same functionality. It just does less indoor units, and it's a much cheaper version. But you can see, obviously, the graphics on there are much smaller than the graphics on there.
Understood.
And it doesn't have the ability to plug into a laptop as well. So, you know, you need to decide on what you want to use. But we also do smart clouds now as well.
That was my next question, yeah. So a lot of the manufacturers, they're actually, I think they're going to be stepping away from these centralised controllers. We've actually installed yours, so I can't fib to the audience, but we've installed the smart cloud, and it's perfect. It's a centralised controller on a PC. And I know the other manufacturers now will follow suit, and you've all kind of got that. Could the smart cloud replace... I can see an iPad next to that. Could the smart cloud actually be accessed on an iPad on site?
Yeah.
And then you could actually remotely monitor the site as well?
Yeah, you can, exactly that, yeah.
And the smart cloud is probably cheaper or maybe around the same price as a standard centralised controller?
They're similar prices, yeah. There's not a huge difference. But I think, you know, in some instances you might want both, maybe, just as a backup.
Yeah, of course.
People want something in the office, but generally everyone's going across now to more tablet
Smart away, remote access.
Yeah, I'll show you. I can show you quickly on here because this is the sort of thing. This is the Comfort Cloud. So this is a Panasonic. This is their Panasonic app. So this is if you're doing Wi-Fi control and you wanted to control a particular unit, you can do it all app based. So this is
rack and pack.
This is rack, pack, VRF.
So if you've got a client with 10 units in their office and they don't really want to pay for a centralised, you could just put them on the Comfort Cloud for remote access.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, interesting.
So this is, I mean, personally, I think this is brilliant because the other thing that this does as well, it tells you stats on how much energy you're actually using. So you
from the unit.
Yeah. So this is just on a particular split system, but you can look at years, and it would tell you how much. In kilowatt hours.
Oh wow!
So
okay, so you can generate how much you're.
If I look at the month of December, that's the usage this month, and I pick a particular day.
So you use your lounge AC for heating?
Yeah, I do quite a bit. And
what's that coin button?
If you press that there, it tells you the cost. So 0.75. It's cost me 75p to run that particular unit
for that day.
Well, that's not a full day. That's for however many I can't.
Oh wow!
But it tells you how many hours.
It's relatively simplified. Some of the others don't give you the information like that.
It's super simplified. You can put in your own electrical tariff in there. So however much you're paying in electricity,
and it will generate, calculate it for you.
Yeah,
so Panasonic have obviously simplified their app, and to give as much information as possible rather than overcomplicate.
Yeah. I think it's a brilliant thing for end users. I think it's
wow, what a cheap alternative to you've got an office with 10 air conditioning units and you want to work out how much them things are costing you. How many times have you been asked how much does the aircon cost to run per day?
Exactly.
It's let's say it wasn't that accurate. I'm sure it's going to be accurate to at least 10%. If or it might be much more accurate. But if you're within 10% and you're working out how much the aircon works, you can actually find out. Well, one, you know, who's leaving that aircon on. Leaving that aircon on is costing us this much overnight. Stop doing it. And number two, you can work out how much your electricity is actually costing you using the aircon, rather than my rule of thumb is if somebody asks how much an aircon unit costs to run per day, it's always 50p to a pound depending on the usage. But it's a wild guess. Yeah. But now you can actually give the actual cost within I'm going to say 10%. Maybe it's less.
I'd like to add number 3. You can actually turn it off yourself if you wanted to.
There you go. So you can set the programs.
So if someone's left it on and you go to look on the app, you can just turn it off.
Switch it off. So,
I mean, there's a lot of benefits because it's all remote. It's remote access. You can turn it on before you get home if you wanted to warm up your property or whatever it might be.
So that was our tour of the Panasonic HQ up in Welwyn Garden City. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and if you want to know anything else about Panasonic UK's products, get in touch with us. We're happy to help. If not, get in touch with them direct. They are great alternative supplier to the major two. See you on the next one.